3.3, graphing f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. In this function, ax squared plus bx plus c, a determines whether the graph is opening up or down. If a is positive, your graph is opening up. If a is negative, your graph opens down. Also in this function, c is your y-intercept. C is your y-intercept. So that is where the graph crosses the y-axis. This function, since it's quadratic, we have to find the vertex in order to graph it. So the vertex is a special equation to find the x-coordinate, which is negative b over 2a. Now this equation only finds the x-coordinate. You take that number and you plug it in to find the y-coordinate. And then the axis of symmetry is always the same. It goes through the x-coordinate of your vertex. The x-coordinate of your vertex. All right, let's do an example. We have a function for number 1, and we have to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex of this graph. So the first thing we're going to do is identify A and B. We need those two in order to find the x-coordinate of our vertex. So A is the number in front of x squared, which is 1. B is the number in front of x, which is negative 10. So we're going to plug in 1 for A and negative 10 for B. So a negative 10 over 2 times 1. If you put this in your calculator, you have to put parentheses around the denominator, or you will not get the correct answer. So a negative 10 is a positive 10 over 2, which is 5. So if x is 5 for your vertex, you have to plug it back in to this function in order to find y. So let's do that. We have x squared minus 10x plus 2. So we're going to plug in 5 into this function. So 5 squared minus 10 times 5 plus 2. And we can put that into our calculators. And we get 23. So y is equal to negative 23. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 5, and your vertex is 5, negative 23. For number 2, A is negative 2, B is negative 8. It's the number in front of x. So we're going to plug in A and B into our equation so that we can find the x of our vertex. So negative 8 over 2 times negative 2. So 8 over negative 4, which is negative 2. Like I said before, you can plug this into your calculator. You just have to make sure you put parentheses around the denominator. So when we plug this into our calculator, we get negative 2. So we're going to plug negative 2 into our original function. So negative 2 times negative 2 squared minus 8 times negative 2 plus 5. And if you put this into your calculator, you will get 13. So your axis of symmetry, which is your x of your vertex, is negative 2. And then your vertex is negative 2, 13. Graph the function. So we're going to go over examples for graphing the quadratic function in standard form. So the first thing we have to do, step 1, is identify A and B. So A is 1. It's the number in front of x squared. If you see no number, the number is 1. And then B is 2. That's the number in front of x. We're going to plug these numbers in to find the x of our vertex. So negative 2 over 2 times 1, which is negative 1. Remember, if you put this into your calculator, you have to put parentheses around the denominator. So we're going to take the x and plug it back in for y. So y equals -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 3. If you put this into your calculator, you will get -4. So the vertex is -1, -4. So we're going to graph the vertex, -1 in the x, -4 in the y, put a point. And then the step 3 says graph the axis of symmetry, which goes right through the vertex. Step 4 says pick values on the left side of the axis of symmetry. You could actually pick values from the left or right side, but you can pick values from the left side. So values from the left side of x would be values like -2 and -3. So I'm going to pick those values in order to find y. So for the first one, we're going to plug in -2 for x in the original function. So -2 squared plus 2 times -2 minus 3. So 4 minus 4 minus 3. So -3 is your first point. And then for the next one, y is equal to -3 squared plus 2 times -3 minus 3, which equals 0 if you put it into your calculator. So I'm going to graph those 2 points, -2, -3, -3, 0, and then what I'm going to do is reflect those points over the red line. So if we go back down to -2, -3, it's 2 boxes from that red axis of symmetry. So I'm going to put it on the right 2 boxes from the axis of symmetry. The point at -3, 0 is 2, 3, 4 boxes from the axis of symmetry. So I'm going to reflect it over on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes from the axis of symmetry. Now I have 5 points, and I'm going to draw my parabola through those 5 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have 5 points. So that's what you want at the end. You should have 5 points. For example 2, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to identify a and b in our function. So a in this case is -2, b is -8. And so we're going to plug in -2 and -8 into the equation. So -b, so -8 over 2 times -2. If you put this into your calculator, you will get -2. So our y, we're going to plug it into our function, -2 times -2 squared minus 8 times -2 minus 1. And if you put this all into your calculator, you should get 7. So our vertex is -2, 7. So let's graph that. -2, +7, -2 in the x, +7 in the y. We're going to put a point. And then we're going to graph next our axis of symmetry, which goes through our vertex. All right, now we're going to pick 2 values of x on the left side. So on the left side, we see that it's -2 is on the axis of symmetry, so we're not going to pick -2. So on the left side of this line would be a -3 and a -4. So those are going to be the values we pick. So now we're going to plug those values into our original function. So y is equal to -2 times -3 squared minus 8 times -3 minus 1. So if we put that into our calculator, we would get -3, 5. And then for the next one, y is equal to -2 times -4 squared minus 8 times -4 minus 1. If we put that into our calculator, we would get -1. So I'm going to graph those 2 points. -3 in the x, 5 in the y, and then -4 in the x, -1 in the y. So now we reflect these points over on the other side of the red line, our axis of symmetry. So this point at -3, -5 is 1 box from this red line, the axis of symmetry. So I'm going to put it on the right of that line, 1 box from the axis of symmetry. And then the point at -4, -1 is 2 boxes away from the red line, so I'm going to put it 2 boxes on the other side. And then I'm going to connect the dots from our parabola. You should have at the end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points.